My mom forced my sister to apologize for scoring a 100 on a test, then grabbed her belt and said, "If you had cared enough, you would have done the extra credit." When I tried to defend Leah, she smirked at me and said, "It's hard to feel proud of ungrateful half measures. What if the very thing that was supposed to make your mother proud, your perfection, became the weapon she used to destroy you? And what if, years later, that weapon turned on her, dragging her out of a courthouse a broken woman?" Asterisk asterisk. That's where our story ends for now. My mom escorted out of a courthouse saying nothing. But let me tell you how we got there. It started like this. My mom lived by one rule, something she'd hammered into us since we were little. If you're not first, you're dead last. No exceptions. Ever. So when my 14-year-old sister Leah came home trying to hide her tears, I knew something was wrong. She kept apologizing, holding out a test. It was a perfect 100%. 100. But at our school, sometimes you could get more than 100 with extra credit. Leah, in her rush, had skipped the bonus questions. Mom's eyes narrowed. "If you'd cared enough," she snapped, her voice like ice, "you would have done the extra credit." Then she walked over to grab her belt. She made Leah apologize for her half measures, for not being perfect enough. When I tried to step in to stand up for Leah, Mom just smirked at me. "It's hard to feel proud of ungrateful half measures," she said, just like that. I just stared at her, frozen. Even though I was younger, I always saw through Mom's bullshit. But Leah? She drank it all in. Whenever I tried to tell her, "Leah, you don't need to study until 5 a.m. I sleep, that's the difference," she just shut me down. She couldn't hear it. By high school, Leah was a machine. Class president, honor society, tutoring kids for free valedictorian track. The perfect daughter. Then one night she knocked on my bedroom door. She completely broke down because one of her tutoring students got a B+. Not an A. A B+. I held her, rocking her until she calmed down. It wasn't because she was a failure. It was because I could see right then how Mom's toxic perfectionism had completely rotted her soul. "Leah," I whispered, "you are the best older sister ever." I tried to make it sound as enthusiastic as possible. She just shook her head. "Shut the F up, Katie. I hate when you lie to me." That was my turning point. I stopped trying to reassure her. Instead, I became her secret role model. I'd announce my 95% A's with a huge, genuine smile, just to show her that happiness didn't need absolute perfection. During exam season, I made sure to get a full 8 hours of sleep. Every morning, I'd casually mention how rested I felt, how clear my head was. Just subtle nudges. But Mom? She noticed. Oh, she always noticed. Soon, at least once a week, she'd make me kneel on rice until I collapsed. Not directly physical, but the pain, the humiliation. It was her way. And then she started praising Leah right in front of me at my expense. "Leah, you're proof I did at least one thing right. Goodness knows not all my efforts paid off." Or, "I've only ever felt proud to be a mother when I look at you, Leah." It's hard to feel that way about ungrateful half measures. That last line again gutted me. Not because of what she said about me, I was used to it, but because I knew deep down this was tearing Leah and me apart. It was creating a rift. And of course I was right. As soon as Leah graduated high school, she went no contact with me. Her reason? I was a disappointment to the bloodline. A year later I got into Stanford, not an Ivy League school. That was it. Mom officially disowned me. She cut me off financially and told the entire family I was extremely dangerous. What hurt most? Leah added fuel to that fire, sending stories to the family group chat about how I had emotionally manipulated and abused her. But for me, it was an opportunity. A fresh start. I blocked everyone from back home, got a job, took out a loan. For the first time ever, I felt truly free from Mom and Leah's impossible standards. Still, a part of me always believed that one day Leah and I would be best friends again. Then, during my sophomore year at Stanford, the call came. It wasn't Leah. It was her best friend, Mac Victoria. She was crying so hard, her voice breaking, that I could barely understand her. "Leah. She pills hospital." My heart dropped straight into my stomach. It was a 6-hour drive to that hospital. I made it in 4. Leah's room was a nightmare of 4 drips, machines beeping, nurses hurrying. When Mac saw me, she lunged into a hug, sobbing. I don't even know what happened. she choked out. 1 second she was taking Adderall to study longer. The next, her pupils were dilated. Her skin was drenched in sweat. My stomach turned to ice. I knew exactly what had pushed her to take them. Does Mom know she's here? My voice was shaking. Mac shook her head. I breathed a sigh of relief. Good. Don't tell her. Mac just nodded like she already understood. For the next 2 days I barely moved from the chair beside Leah's bed, working on my laptop just waiting. Eventually she woke up. And ironically, she looked more well-rested than she had since childhood. I hugged her not knowing what to expect, and she hugged me back. Her eyes welled up, spilling over. I'm sorry, Katie. I wiped her tears. Don't be sorry. I never blamed you for any of it. But there was one thing I wasn't telling her. In that moment I hated our mother more than I ever thought possible. Abusing me was one thing. Almost taking my sister's life? That was another. And I was going to make sure she understood what real consequences looked like. While Leah drifted back to sleep, I pulled out my laptop and created a new document. Evidence of psychological abuse. I started typing. Everything. The rice kneeling. The belt beatings over test scores. The constant comparisons. Every cruel comment. Every impossible standard. Every single moment that had led us to this hospital room. Mac, Victoria, still shaken, was watching me type furiously. Katie, what are you doing? She asked. I explained my plan. Her eyes widened. Then she pulled out her phone. I have texts from Leah. Months of them. She was taking multiple study substances every day, just to keep up with your mom's demands. My hands froze over the keyboard. Multiple substances daily. It was worse than I'd imagined. Mac showed me message after message where Leah described the pressure, the sleepless nights, the constant fear of disappointing Mom. One text. Leah had written that she'd rather die than face our mother's disappointment over a B grade. A knock. A hospital social worker, clipboard in hand, looking concerned. Leah's OD was related to academic stress, she explained, which required family notification. My blood ran cold. If they contacted Mom, she'd swoop in, spin the story, blame everyone but herself, and drag Leah right back into that toxic environment. I stood, positioning myself between the social worker and Leah's bed. I told her I was Leah's primary emergency contact, that our mother was the source of the pressure, and notifying her would be harmful. The social worker looked skeptical but agreed to hold off until Leah could speak. But I could see what Leah couldn't. Mom would never stop. The calls, the institutional pressure, the family network, all weapons in her arsenal. The hospital therapist, Dr. Alexander, explained trauma bonding, how abuse victims protect their abusers. The fact that you nearly died but still worry about your mother's feelings shows how deep this conditioning goes. Leah shifted, taking it in. Soon after, Mom texted me. If you don't call me back within the hour, you're no longer welcome in this family. You'll have no sister, no extended family, no connections to your heritage. This is your last chance. The threat was clear. She'd destroy every relationship I had to maintain control. But this time I had Leah. This time her manipulation wouldn't succeed. I showed Leah the text. Her face crumpled. She's threatening to cut you off from everyone, she whispered. She already did that once, I reminded her. But here we are together. Her threats only work if we let them. The sun was setting when my phone rang again. This time I answered. My hand trembled. Mom's voice was sharp, demanding. She launched into questions about my whereabouts. I fed her the prepared story, keeping my voice steady. Her response was classic. Interrogation about my grades, my attendance, my assignments. Even in what she thought was a crisis, her only concern was academic metrics. I recorded the entire conversation on Mac's phone. Documentation of her complete lack of genuine maternal concern. Mom demanded I return home immediately. I made vague promises and ended the call. Leah, listening, grew paler, started pulling at her IVs. She was terrified Mom would discover the truth. Even after nearly dying, her first instinct was to protect Mom's reputation. I spent an hour calming her, but she kept insisting I go back to Stanford. The conditioning was so deep. Mac pulled me aside and showed me more screenshots. Conversations where Mom had convinced Leah I was jealous, trying to sabotage her. The manipulation was systematic. I realized Mom had been playing us against each other for years. Every comparison, every cruel comment had been calculated to ensure we'd never unite. Divide and conquer. Mom escalated her search, contacting my professors directly. Concerned emails flooded my inbox. Leah's condition slowly improved. We started talking about our childhood, piecing together the pattern of abuse. She told me Mom intercepted letters, sabotaged social clubs. I shared how Mom had poisoned extended family against me. We saw the full picture. Dr. Alexander recommended we document everything for potential legal protection. I created spreadsheets. Incidents, dates, witnesses. Mac added her evidence. Mom's calls became frantic, threats disguised as concern. The family group chat exploded with messages. Mom's propaganda campaign in full swing. But Leah saw it. "This isn't normal family concern," she said, her voice firm. "It's manipulation." We reached out to a domestic violence counselor. Restraining orders were possible, but required substantial evidence. We focused on Leah's recovery. Mac was invaluable, bringing assignments, maintaining the cover story, providing support. One evening, I found something disturbing in our documentation. Mom had been telling extended family, we were both ungrateful and dangerous to family unity. She was isolating us long before the current crisis. Her character assassinations coincided with any attempt we made at independence. When I tried to spend a summer with friends, she called me rebellious. When Leah expressed interest in a less prestigious college, Mom painted her as lazy. Systematic isolation. Nowhere to turn but back to her. Leah was crushed. She believed Mom's lies about me. We spent hours unraveling them. Dr. Alexander called it triangulation. The hospital prepared for Leah's discharge. Her dorm wasn't safe. I used my savings to rent a motel room. Leah was terrified of the deception, still programmed to fear Mom's disapproval. We established routines. Meals, sleep, gentle exercise. Basic self-care Mom's standards had made impossible. It was heartbreaking to watch my accomplished sister learn how to exist without constant pressure. Mom's campaign intensified. She contacted Stanford's financial aid, claiming I was mentally unstable and shouldn't receive funding. She wanted to destroy my future. I had to walk a careful line with Stanford. But then an unexpected crack in Mom's narrative wall. Our aunt, Mom's sister, offered private support. She'd witnessed Mom's controlling behavior for years, stayed quiet for family peace. Now she offered to testify. If one relative spoke up, others might. Leah's physical recovery progressed, but the psychological work was harder. Years of conditioning don't vanish overnight. She still felt guilty for not studying, for disappointing Mom. Dr. Alexander helped us deprogram, explaining how abusers create internal critics. We practiced affirmations. Leah was valuable regardless of grades. Rest was necessary. Imperfection was human. These basic truths were radical concepts for us. Mom discovered I hadn't returned to Stanford. Her threats escalated from disappointment to full disownment. Formal messages. No inheritance. No family connections. The words were painful, even knowing they were manipulation. But something shifted in me. Instead of devastation, I felt clarity. Mom showed her true priorities. Control mattered more than her children's lives. The threat of disownment lost its power. Leah struggled more. Her identity was built on being the successful daughter. Watching that crumble was excruciating, but necessary for her healing. We found online support groups, connecting with others who shared our impossible standards, conditional love, and psychological manipulation disguised as parental concern. We weren't alone. Mom's next move was predictable. She started contacting Leah's professors and academic advisors, playing the worried mother. We worked with our counselor and Dr. Alexander to draft official communications. The university was understanding, agreeing to communicate only with Leah. Days turned into weeks. Morning documentation sessions. Afternoon therapy. Evening planning for independence. The legal consultation confirmed psychological abuse was harder to prove, but Leah's hospitalization helped establish harm. We began the paperwork for a protective order. It felt drastic but necessary. Mom received word. Her response was explosive. She rallied family, claiming we were attacking her. Some bought it. Others began to question. Our aunt's support had opened a door, and more relatives started sharing their observations. The family divide was painful but necessary. Truth forces people to choose sides. We prepared meticulously for the hearing. Every document organized. The counselor helped us practice testimony. Mom hired a lawyer, gathered character witnesses. The irony wasn't lost on us. She used our accomplishments achieved despite her abuse as proof of her good mothering. As the hearing approached, Mom made one last attempt. She showed up at Stanford demanding to see me. Security escorted her off campus when she refused to leave. The desperation in her actions revealed how much control she was losing. Leah watched me handle it with a mix of admiration and fear. She was still learning Mom's emotions weren't our responsibility. The morning of the hearing was gray and drizzly. We dressed professionally. Matt came for moral support. Our aunt promised to testify. Dr. Alexander would provide professional context. Walking into the courthouse, I felt the weight. We were formally declaring our mother an abuser. It was heartbreaking but necessary. Mom sat opposite us, perfect posture, pressed suit, the picture of a respectable mother wronged. She didn't look at us. The proceedings began. Her lawyer painted her as a devoted mother, presenting report cards, awards, college acceptance letters. Each achievement felt like a betrayal. Our blood and tears transformed into her vindication. My turn first. My hand shook as I described the rice punishments, the belt, the isolation. Mom's face remained impassive, but her jaw tightened when I mentioned the documentation. Her lawyer objected repeatedly, but the judge let me continue. Leah's testimony was more powerful. She described the escalating pressure, the multiple study substances, the moment she decided dying was preferable to disappointing Mom. Her voice cracked as she explained waking up in the hospital, realizing she'd nearly succeeded in escaping. The medical records spoke volumes. OD levels, prolonged recovery, therapist's notes on trauma bonding. Dr. Alexander provided context. Our aunt's testimony surprised everyone, including Mom. She described public humiliations, the calculated campaigns to isolate us. She produced old emails. Mom's own character witnesses inadvertently strengthened our case. They praised her high standards, unable to see how their words confirmed the abuse patterns. One friend mentioned Mom crying about my rebellion for choosing Stanford over an Ivy. When Mom took the stand, her testimony revealed the depth of her delusion. She genuinely believed pushing us to near-death extremes was good parenting. No remorse. When the judge asked about Leah's OD, Mom's response chilled the room. She claimed Leah was simply overzealous, showing dedication rather than desperation. The judge's expression hardened. Mac Victoria's testimony provided crucial corroboration. Years of texts, Leah's deteriorating mental state, finding her unconscious. During a recess, Mom approached us. She didn't speak, just stared with bewildered fury. I positioned myself between her and Leah, maintaining eye contact until she turned away. It was the first time I'd ever seen her back down. The afternoon brought more testimony from Mom's witnesses, but their words rang hollow. Their ignorance of our reality emphasized how effectively Mom had hidden the abuse. Ms. Chun presented legal precedents for psychological abuse, demonstrating our situation met all criteria for a protective order. Mom's lawyer tried to frame it as a family disagreement, suggesting counseling. It felt like asking us to negotiate with our torturer. The judge retired. Those 20 minutes felt like hours. Leah gripped my hand so tightly I lost feeling. When the judge returned, her decision was swift and comprehensive. She granted the protective order, prohibiting Mom from contact. She ordered Mom to undergo mandatory psychological evaluation and therapy, specifically noting Mom's lack of remorse made her an ongoing threat. Mom's composure finally shattered. She stood abruptly, her chair scraping, her face contorting with rage. Her lawyer quickly guided her from the room. The mask had slipped. The perfect mother was gone, revealing the controller underneath. In the hallway, our aunt hugged us tightly. She apologized for not speaking up sooner. I assured her her testimony had made all the difference. Dr. Alexander congratulated us, reminding us the legal victory was just the beginning. We left the courthouse as the sun broke through the clouds, an almost too perfect metaphor. The weight I'd carried for years felt lighter, though not entirely gone. Legal protection was just paper and promises, but it was more than we'd ever had before. Over the following weeks, we settled into new routines. Leah returned to school, accommodations in place. Without Mom's impossible standards, she discovered she actually enjoyed learning. My grades at Stanford improved once I stopped fearing that anything less than perfection would bring punishment. Mom violated the protective order 3 times. Each time we reported it, and each time the consequences for her got stricter. It actually helped our healing. It proved the order was necessary, that Mom hadn't changed. Leah discovered a passion for art. Her paintings were dark at first, processing trauma. Gradually, lighter themes emerged: freedom, growth, sisterhood. Her first exhibition at a campus gallery felt like a triumph over everything Mom had tried to suppress. I found my own healing volunteering with students experiencing family pressure, turning our pain into purpose. We both changed our phone numbers, tightened social media privacy. The constant vigilance was exhausting, but preferable. We learned to recognize flying monkeys. Our documentation system became second nature. Mom never changed, but we did. We learned that real love didn't require perfection. That worthiness wasn't measured in achievements. That surviving and thriving despite abuse was its own form of success. Our story wasn't unique. Perfectionist abuse is hidden in countless families. But our escape was real, our freedom hard-won. We chose our well-being over family approval, our lives over Mom's control. And in that choice, we finally found the unconditional love we'd always deserved, from ourselves and each other.